Hey guys, this next video we're gonna do a Quebec edition. Oh yeah, here we go. So yesterday when I was looking at some of these old train railfan and railroad magazines, I discovered something real cool inside them. They actually did some on the Cartier Railway. And then after that, I'm gonna make another video, and we're gonna read about my neck of the woods, Zodiac, and the Zodiac sub. I was really happy when I saw this one. But this is actually a place further from where I live. Every Jonction. Pretty cool stuff, guys. But first, we're gonna read about the Cartier Railway. Cartier, alcoves and iron ore. By Gary R. Zuthers and Mel Wilson. The date is May 28, 1995. After climbing through 6 feet of heavy wet snow, still lingering on the ground, despite the temperatures now hovering near 60 Fahrenheit, not 60 Celsius, okay? There would not be any snow at 60 Celsius. We are resting on a rock outcropping, overlooking a wide valley. Heavy welded rail snakes around several reverse curves below as the tracks hug the side of the mountains, and then curve across a river swollen with spring runoff. Over the drone of early season mosquitoes, the wind brings the unmistakable sound of alcoves doing their best to overcome gravity. The sound fades in and out as the distant train curves around mountains and through deep rock cuts. After almost 20 minutes, the sound vanishes, only to reappear in tremendous volume as the train literally blasts out of a tunnel and enters the scene, exhaust shooting heat waves straight into the cool air as a trio of M636s in full throttle crest the grade with a seemingly endless string of empty ore cars in tow. Slowly, the sound diminishes, then halts abruptly as the engineer cuts the power back to idle, with the only sound left being the hum of the empties, with nary a pounding flat wheel to break the rhythm. After several minutes, the last car disappears around the bend, only to be replaced by the buzzing of the mosquitoes and the gentle breeze again. A dream in 1997? No, this is repeated at least 5 times each day on the remote Quebec Cartier Railway, or La Compagnie de Chemin de Fer Cartier, in the official French language of the province of Quebec. This region of northern Quebec and Labrador is not on any of the tour guides, and maps reveal a distinct lack of any roads. This is a largely uninhabited region of dense, but stunted spruce forests and muskeg swamps dotted with numerous lakes. Winter this far north is brutally cold, with abundant snowfall, while summers are short and cursed with clouds of mosquitoes and black flies that can even drive a moose out of cover. Why would anyone want to live in or vast this inhospitable region? The reason is iron. And within this region is found a feature known to geologists as the Quebec-Labrador Trough. The 40-mile wide, 600-mile long band which cuts through the vast Canadian Shield. I need to change my hat for this. I'll be right back. Oh yeah. The Canadian Shield is composed of hard granite lying on or near the surface, with most topsoil having been removed by glacial action. Mountains in the Shield were also rounded by the same glaciers. In the mid-1800s, the first discoveries of iron were made by missionaries in the vicinity of Nab Lake. But it was not until the middle of the 19th century that any serious prospecting occurred, as other more easily accessible deposits elsewhere were being mined out. In 1949, the town of Shefferville was born as the Iron Ore Company of Canada was established to develop the Nab Lake deposits. Further exploration discovered additional deposits in an area of the Trough near Lac Janin, and in 1958, United States Steel formed the Port Cartier Mining Company to develop the site. This was not to be an easy challenge, since the only way to proceed was to build everything from the mine to town sites, an hydroelectric dam to supply electricity, roads to connect everything to the outside world, a port at Shelter Bay on the St. Lawrence River, to load the ore into lake boats for the furnaces on the Great Lakes, and of course, a railroad to ship the ore to the port. All of this in an area with an extremely short construction season. Despite these problems, development proceeded rapidly, and in 1959 the port at Shelter Bay, now renamed Port Cartier, was ready for use, allowing for easier delivery of equipment for the mine and railway still under construction. In late 1960, the mine and railway were complete, and the first trainload of concentrate was loaded at Lac Janin on December 16, 1960. Initial production was stockpiled at Port Cartier, as the mine and concentrator were still gearing up for full production. All ore is shipped in concentrate form, which contains 66% iron. The first shipload of concentrate departed the port on July 5th, 1961. A railway in the wilderness. The Cartier Railway is a marvel of engineering. An extensive use was made of aerial mapping to select a route through the mountainous terrain. The 186-mile line used natural drainage extensively, following the rushy and tunistic river valleys to keep gradient at a minimum, despite having to climb from sea level to 1,972 feet. The ruling grade for southbound loaded trains was kept to 0.4%, compensated for curvature, while northbound the ruling grade is 1.35%, uncompensated. Numerous deep rock cuts were blasted into the sides of steep cliffs, and 5 tunnels ranging from 350 to 1,440 feet were bored where cuts were impossible. With the heavy hull nature of the line, our rail was 132 pound and 78 foot length, including sidings and yard tracks, and with curves accounting for 54.3% of the mileage. And to keep wear to a minimum, flange oilers were located every 8 miles or after 250 degrees of curvature, whichever was less. Granite, blasted and removed during the harbor construction, was crushed and used for ballast for the southern 54 miles, while local pit run rock was used for the remainder. 22 bridges were required, with the longest at 880 feet and highest at 120 feet, being located at milepost 68.5. 13 sidings were built, being named after letters from the phonetic alphabet, beginning with Abel from the south, all except Fox at 12,090 feet, and Love at 14,200 feet, are 6,600 feet long, and all have windsocks for helicopter access by maintenance personnel. Wow. To facilitate drainage, 1,524 culverts were installed, as the shallow soils do not hold rainfall well, causing rapid runoff. The railroad was completed on December 10, 1960, but all has not remained static since then. The 132-pound rail has long since been replaced with 136-pound continuous welded rail, and the entire line now has crushed granite ballast and is raised on a 4-year cycle. The entire line was equipped with CTC right from the start, with all sidings having power switches at the south ends and spring switches at the north ends. Loaded trains never enter the sidings, although Fox and Love are equipped with power switches at both ends. The QCM is now using its 3rd generation of computerized dispatching system, 2 rail traffic controllers, Canadian name for dispatchers, control the railway. The south end desk covers from Port Cartier to Love, while the north end desk covers from Love to the mine. At night and on weekends, the jobs are combined. Weather brings with it annual snowfall of 150 to 200 inches in the QCM's territory. and the railway makes extensive use of its 2 Jordan spreaders and 2 Russell snowplows to keep its line open. Jeeps and Alcos. Initial operations consisted of 5-unit, 150-car, 19,000-ton-hour trains, drawn from a fleet of 9 General Motors Diesel Division GP9s, 1 through 9, as well as 8 Montreal Locomotive Works RS-18s, 101 to 108. The 534-foot ore cars were built by Canadian Car and Foundry. The first 4 years saw 8,130 8,130,000 tons of concentrate shipped with 3 train sets in service. Wow, that's a lot. 8,130,000 tons of concentrate shipped with 3 train sets in service. Wow. That's impressive. Wow. Although winter operations would result in trains dropping to as few as 90 cars as a result of extreme cold, additional train sets were pressed into service to keep up with production. Another problem led to an innovative solution. Concentrate loaded into the extreme cold would freeze to the size of cars, making dumping a very slow process. The Cartier lined the insides of the ore cars with styrofoam sheets, later covered with plywood to eliminate the problem. The railway would move an average of 8 to 9 million tons for the next decade. Wow. You heard that right. 8 to 9 million tons of ore. Wow. In 1972, the railway was extended an additional 86 miles to a new ore deposit located near Montreal, as the original Lac Janin deposit was becoming depleted. The new line originated at milepost 174, which was named South Junction. The terrain traversed by the new line was far less formidable, with far less curvature, and only 5 bridges were required. 5 new sidings were built as well, with the completed 260-mile line now only 49.8% curved. Production of the Montreal facility was planned at 19 million tons, requiring additional equipment as well, and Marine Industries of Sorel, Quebec, delivered 130 additional cars, and the Cartier entered the second-generation diesel market with an order of 6 M636s, 71 to 76. From MLW, all were delivered by the spring of 1972, and the standard consists with the new power would evolve to 3 units and 155 cars. One of the new units had a remarkably short career, being involved in the company's worst accident when on May 31st, 1972, M63672, along with GP9s 52 and 58 and RS-1861, ran away and derailed with 134 cars into the McDonald River on the great south of Evesliding. Both crew members and a passenger were killed, and all units, including the 72, just on its second trip, were retired on the spot. The mishap was believed to be caused by crew fatigue. Very sad. If you're tired, sleep. That's the lesson. I think that was one of the main reasons for the strike that happened about a month ago, was crew fatigue and that kind of thing. It's very dangerous. If you operate a train, you're fatigued, bad combo. Suddenly, the Cartier was short of equipment again, and fellow U.S. Steel Railroad, Bessemer and Lake Erie sent 4 of its ex-Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Range RSD-15s north in June 1972, where they became QCM 91-94, followed by the additional 2 in 1973, 95, and 96. That's pretty nice that they actually send locomotives there. Shows cooperation, between two nations. Pretty nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Also acquired by the QCM were the original 3-Arco Sentry 636 demonstrators, which had been in the employ of Morris and Knudsen since the demise of the builder. They arrived north in 1973 to become QCM 77-79. The final batch of second-hand power for 1973 arrived when 3 Duluth, Mesabi, and Iron Range ex-Union Pacific C630s were delivered to become the 30-32. These units had been unloved orphans under otherwise all EMD, DM, and IR, but they fit in well with the QCM's expanding MLW Alco fleet. Nice. Changing your mind. I like that. Changing your mind. Lexington finally ceased production in 1976 after 140 million tons of concentrate had been produced, with all production moving to Morite. The ore body at Morite, composed of a fine-grained specular hematite with less than 5% hematite, was 4 miles long and 4,000 feet wide. With an average thickness of 1,000 feet, these reserves are expected to last well into the 21st century. The longer haul and resultant increased running times, along with increased production, resulted in a demand for even more equipment, and the ore car roster expanded again with 668 more cars from MIL and additional power. 5 new M636s were delivered by MLW in 1976, as the 81 through 85. And an additional 11 M636s were purchased from the Canadian National, becoming the 41 through 49 and 86 to 87. Rounding out the fleet were the 7 remaining DM&IR XUP C630s as the 33 through 39. This would bring the QCM fleet to its all-time high of 54 units, with MLW Alco dominating GMDD by a wide margin of 47 to 7. The year 1977 brought with it additional traffic when oil reserves at Fire Lake were acquired along with the Old Town and concentrator in Gagnon. A joint venture with Sidbeck, British Steel, and QCM was formed, and the new company called Sidbeck Norman would develop the new reserve, which was totally isolated, with no road access. A spur was built from the QCM main line, and a new connection at MP 177.5, named North Junction, allowed crude oil trains from Fire Lake to head onto the old main line, now renamed the Lac Janin branch, without a time-consuming runaround move. To move the raw ore, Sidbeck Norman acquired 320 ex-BNLE oil jennies. 2 units were assigned to the raw ore trains, and a 3-unit pusher was stationed at North Junction to assist the trains up to 1.35% grades on the Lac Janin branch. A pellet plant was also constructed at Port Cartier to handle the 6 million ton output of the Gagnon concentrator. Annual concentrate tonnage moving under QCM from both companies peaked at 19.5 million tons in 1980. Wow, 19.5 million tons, guys. That's a lot. Wow. Slaving away. With the arrival of the high horsepower units, replacing the original fleet by 1978, the Calzi began to experiment with local troll operation of unmanned helpers. Winter has always been severe this far north, and air problems caused by the extreme cold and often reduced trains to as little as 90 cars. Trains of as many as 298 cars with 6 units were operated before in 1989. As with the reduced traffic levels now operating, the company could not justify replacing the aging equipment with the next generation Locotrol 2. And I think that'll do it for part 1 of this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time for part 2. Just some extras. Here are some pictures.